My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons, part of the Soundstone Network. Hey everyone, this is a bit of a different intro to kick things off. That's because it's the 100th episode of the show, so I've officially gotten to triple digits, which is really cool. I was trying to think of different ways I could maybe make a different show or a different episode out of it, do like a little bonus, get some submissions or clips from people or do something, but it was just a lot to try and coordinate and, finding people with the right amount of time and everything too, just didn't work out, but I didn't want to go and just post the 100th episode without saying something. So, thanks for listening along to everybody who has. Thanks for, subscribing to it and having it in your podcast feed, for, listening to it each week if you do. I'm just a random person who enjoys talking about video games, and in the process of creating Pixels and Polygons and, using it to publish like the books and things that I do, the idea of creating the podcast was, started just to kind of help promote those things, but then it's just been fun to like meet new people and find different folks to have conversations about video games, which is the whole point of me doing anything with Pixels and Polygons, is to just dive into this hobby that I have and talk about and be involved with the thing that I love and enjoy. So thanks for being a part of that, and hopefully I get to do hundreds more. It doesn't cost me really much of anything, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do, so I don't see why I wouldn't be able to continue to do this show in this way. So again, thank you for listening. If you are new to the show, it is just a show where I sit down and talk to a single guest each episode. I ask them a prompt or a question, and we have a conversation about that. It's designed just to be short and sweet. I call it the perfect podcast in between podcasts. So if you listen to like longer form podcast or, hour plus long episodes of things, and you're on your commute and finish an episode, but don't have time or don't want to get started with another one, plug in a Pixels and Polygons episode, get yourself 20 to 40 minutes of a simple conversation, nothing too long, and maybe get yourself thinking about your own responses to some of these questions. So that's what that is. But if you've come back and you are returning to the show, thank you again for listening. If you're looking for ways to support the show, I have a few different options for you. Over on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Darren Hupke, and for $1 a month, you can get early access to the show. So it gives you new episodes a week early, and get, the earliest way to kind of hear the new episodes. There's a $5 tier that, in addition to that early access, you get digital access to my retro game zines from last year, as well as the current Pixels and Polygons quarterly issues as those published, all for free. So that's a benefit. And then you get a postcard mailed to you once a month with a screenshot of a video game on one side and a review on the back side. I call it the shortest or smallest video game periodical in existence. So I don't know if anybody else is doing anything else shorter than a single page, but if you are, cool, the title is yours. I won't try and claim it any further from here. But until then, I will claim it as the shortest video game periodical that you can subscribe to. Otherwise, you can go to pixelsandpolygons.net. All of the books and zines and collections that I've done are all available there. You got the Retro Game Zine Annual, which collects every issue in a $60 book. It's, 300 something or even 400 pages. All the 32-bit library books, the latest being the 32-bit library Greatest Hits, Volume 1, the Beat 'em Up book, which is exploring the history of the entire Final Fight franchise, and t-shirts and a whole bunch of stuff. So again, I do this to promote and plug and share all the other stuff and writing that I'm doing, but I also do this just so you all have something fun to listen to if you're a fan of video games. So just you liking, sharing, and telling your friends about the show is more than enough. But if you are looking for other ways to support, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do it there. So thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope that you continue to come back and listen to more. I will continue to make them as long as people are having a good time listening to them. So with that being said, I have the newest episode here with returning guest Andre from Fine Time, who is a longtime friend of the show, been on multiple episodes. So it's great to jump in and have a regular episode for you to listen to, and just doing the same thing that we've done 100 times before this, or I guess 99 times before this. This will be the 100th time we've done this. So thanks for listening. See you all next week with another new episode. And yeah, enjoy. Bye.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Nick McConnell, and you caught me reading the instruction booklet for Street Fighter II in preparation for my weekly stream Instruction Derby, where I take a look at the creative, fun, and sometimes bizarre lost art of video game manuals. Did you know that, according to the manual for Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo, Ryu was born in 1964, making him 62 years young, canonically? Happy birthday, Ryu. You're looking great. Did you also know that, per the manual for Laser Invasion on the Nintendo, the UN enters a conclave in order to select a new commando? Or did you know that the dancing enemies in Super Castlevania are named Paula Abgul and Fred Askare? These important facts and many more are discovered every Wednesday at noon Pacific on Instruction Derby, over at internet website twitch.tv/Nick McConnell, part of the Soundstone Network.
Welcome to Pixels and Polygons, a conversational podcast about video games. I am Darren Hupke, and I am joined by returning guest, friend of the show, Andre from Fine Time. Hello, Andre. I was thinking about maybe some more adjectives or something like that, and then I just quit after just friend of the show.
That's fine. That's good enough for me. That's the one that matters to me. Thank you for having me again. I can't believe you keep asking me back. I guess I haven't crashed and burned the show, huh?
Not yet, but we can try it today.
Okay. All right.
So what's new in the world of Andre? What's new in the world of Fine Time? Like, how's life been for you?
Pretty good. I should maybe say this because I'm starting to say this now publicly because it's going to be happening soon. In addition to Fine Time, I'm going to be doing also another podcast with, I know you know him, Aaron from Super Ghost. The two of us are doing a thing called Neo Geo Go. We're going to go through the entire Neo Geo, the entire library chronologically and fast, 20 minutes or less. That's it. Every episode, 20 minutes or less, and usually a lot less than that. Sometimes they're less than 10 minutes, very often, especially in this early going. So that's it. Every game, quick, once a week.
Neo Geo Go?
Neo Geo Go.
So Neo Geo Geo? If I was to spell it out,
Neo Geo Geo.
Okay,
with the exclamation mark. Don't forget the exclamation mark.
Okay, yeah, that's important. Some bands have exclamation marks.
It's very important for branding.
Yeah, they need that in the title. Okay, that's fine. Is there a tentative date at when those will start to be followable, subscribable, listenable, etc.?
The feed is up right now. We have a teaser episode just talking about what we're going to be doing. Our first actually official episode, again, I don't know when this episode is going to air, but it's going to air March 7th.
Okay, this will be out before March 7th. So yes, everybody has time to subscribe then and be on and be ready for episode 1. So cool.
Yep. March 7th, Saturday mornings, because it felt appropriate. I don't know why. Saturday morning, Neo Geo Go.
Yeah, and you can watch the Power Rangers right afterwards. And then
exactly.
Erie, Indiana, and Goosebumps.
What did you watch on Saturday morning?
I feel like everything. When I look back now and I look at Wikipedia and look at old shows that I watch, I realized it was only 2 seasons maybe, but they just did 48 episodes or something like that. So it was just played on syndication and on loop and all that stuff. So really some of the shows were probably already done and completed. I didn't even realize it, but I was just still watching them, over and over as for reruns and whatnot. But I think my favorite cartoon growing up was the Amazing Spider-Man show. I think that for sure is my favorite. But I don't think, was that a Saturday morning show? Like I remember watching it.
I think that was like a Monday through Friday show, as far as I remember.
Yeah,
but I don't think it was like a Saturday morning one. I don't remember now though. They all bleed together.
Yeah. Recess? Was Recess a Saturday morning cartoon?
I think so. That sounds like a Saturday morning one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I'd watch in the early 90s, there was a Conan the Barbarian one. Mm-hmm. That was my shit. I love that one.
Was it Conan the Adventurer? Was that what it was called?
See, I don't remember. It could be the Adventurer. It was definitely around like the very mid 90s, maybe like 92, 93.
Because I remember at this point, theme song is in my head. It's like Conan the Adventurer.
See, Conan. I don't remember the theme song anymore. Oh, I used to watch Street Sharks.
Oh, Street Sharks. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome for sure. Mm-hmm. I would watch that. Turtles, of course, but that's not. I mean, everyone watch that.
I was just showing my wife Stone Protectors. Do you remember Stone Protectors? They're stones of power.
I do now.
I love the Stone Protectors.
I did not remember that shit at all until now. I would have never thought about that again.
Oh man, it's probably once every 3 weeks. I just think about the Stone Protectors, just like randomly, like, oh yeah, they're stones of power glow. They were just the cool Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles inspired treasure troll like spin-off thing that was just stupid but very cool.
Yeah, I would have never thought about that again. Yeah, I watch that from time to time, not religiously, but yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, I probably watched them all. Even if they weren't good, I would still watch, just like to wait to see or make sure I caught whatever was next potentially. And yeah, I remember I was very lucky growing up. For like the first few years of elementary school, I was living in Arizona, where I am currently again, but I've gone back and forth from here in California. But I think it was WB, so the Warner Brothers network, WB 61 is what it was out here. At like 5 a.m, they would play Sailor Moon Monday through Friday. And so me and my brother got to watch all of Sailor Moon or whatever was at least translated and localized at the time. But I remember waking up super early for school just to watch Sailor Moon. And like, I loved that.
For some reason, that seems to be a thing. They always showed Sailor Moon in most markets in syndication so early in the morning. It was crazy because in San Diego, they would show it really early, too, like 6:30, which is just, me. If I have to get up before noon, that is a crisis. So like, it was tough for me to watch Sailor Moon. Even at that time, I was like, oh, my God. So I'd have to catch it if I was just up all night.
I'm going to dig into Saturday morning cartoons after this and start putting a list together of some of my favorites.
Go on a journey.
I think that's a podcast worthy topic there, just talking about obscure Saturday morning cartoons.
100%. Because like you said, I would have never thought about Stone Protectors unless you said that again. I bet there's other ones I could say to be like, oh yeah.
Biker Mice from Mars.
Yes, I remember that.
Mighty Max.
I 100% remember that.
I love Mighty Max. Mighty Max, with Virgil and Norman.
This one is obviously everyone knows this one, but I used to watch a lot of Reboot as well. I remember being fascinated with Reboot.
Yeah.
Like it's the second it came on TV.
Yeah,
I was
Bob and my brother sent me some meme he made, like the phrase like fuck around and find out, the end of like the introduction, like title sequence for Reboot ends with like Bob, like the user inputs games for fun, and no one knows for sure, but I intend to find out. But he made some like mashup meme of like the phrase fuck around and find out and like Bob standing there like he found out or something like that. It was the dumbest thing, and I was like, there's a Venn diagram of people who will understand those things, and like all 12 people in the world, like I don't know how you're going to find them all, but it's just so dumb. I love Reboot.
I think there was enough crossover Reboot fans and FAFO. I think that can definitely happen. Yeah, for sure.
The tone of that show also changed as I was getting older and everything. So I loved like how like mature and dark it got as I got older. And yeah, that was
because I remember I was like, I forget when it came out. I was like 12, 13 or something like that. And then like I saw it a bit later and I was like, oh. So like, but I haven't seen it since it relatively aired. I would love to go back and see it now that I'm, 40 plus.
Yeah. I want to I think I want to look into something like that. I think I should do something with Saturday morning cartoons. Maybe I can tie it in video games and I'll just talk about the tie-in games of all these Saturday morning cartoons and as an excuse to talk about the cartoons and the game. Boom, there it is. Idea made itself.
Boom, you got it. You have a game. You have a show.
All right. Well, let's do an icebreaker here. Who is one of your favorite non-main characters in a game? So not a main character, just an option, non-playable, NPC or party member or buddy or reoccurring person in a video game. Doesn't have to be your most favorite, but just a memorable one.
Man, he's not much of an NPC because he's just a shopkeeper, so you don't really talk to him. But in Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap, I gotta say the smoking pig. Mm-hmm. The pig who gives you your password or you buy stuff at the store, please buy something, will you? And he's smoking. I had never seen a character smoking in a video game before.
Yeah, that's true.
Until I saw that. I was like, whoa, it's a pig and he has an eye patch and he's just puffing on a cigarette.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I wonder that it probably would fly today, but it definitely got overlooked and those things were constantly censored. So
yeah, but it was definitely and that Master System version of Wonder Boy 3 that did not originally come out in Japan. It came out in Japan later. So I don't know if they specifically made that for our market thinking, oh, they're going to like this. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But it was great. In the remake from 2017, they definitely did the smoking pig justice. He definitely was drawn up very good. So maybe that's it. Even though it's not much of a character, definitely my image I will not forget.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a fun choice. I'm looking into the skateboarding games and all that stuff, and so I've been looking at really obscure older games, and so the Adventure Island games and weird games come up. So it's been scratching my memory of some older throwback games and all that stuff as well too. So hearing about Wonder Boy, it's another one that's just I don't think enough people enjoyed those games back in the day and everything. So more people should dig back through the archives and play some of these old classics and everything. That's why I love a good re-release and all that stuff. Even if people are burnt out by them, I mean, if you can do it and still have new games, why not allow repeat access for people who maybe miss these things?
There's no reason why not. Yeah, and the remake from 2017 is pretty much a one-to-one remake. It's just a graphical facelift. So you'll get the pretty much authentic experience from back in the day if you play that with just a fresh coat of paint. So yeah, I think it's great. And also I had to discover it. I didn't play Wonder Boy until I discovered emulation when I was 17, 18. So that would be the very early 2000s, very late 90s. So even I played it late, quote unquote. Now it's even much later than that now in the year of our Lord 2026, but it's still great.
Yeah. Fun. All right. Well, you wanted to come. You picked up a couple of questions, and you want to come on and talk about a couple of things. The thing we are going to do for this episode is we want to hear about one of your favorite gaming systems. I'd love to know about when you got it, the story behind it, and then we can even get into some of your favorite memories, games, details about it, whatever it may be. But yeah, what is one of your favorite gaming systems, Andre?
I think this is my favorite gaming system, period, and that would be the Dreamcast. It seems to be, for anyone in our age group, this seems to be a pick that is very common, but it's unusual for me because I was a Nintendo kid through and through. I did not have Sega consoles. I knew a lot of people who had a Genesis. I knew a few people had a Master System, but not Wonder Boy. But I was a Nintendo kid. I had NES, SNES, N64, and of course I was looking forward to GameCube. GameCube wasn't really a name yet by the time Dreamcast was coming around, obviously. We didn't know it was going to be called. But even more than Nintendo, I loved playing stuff at the arcade. That was my absolute number one priority, was going to the arcade and playing games. I was such an arcade head. So when I went to the arcade in early 99, we used to, from San Diego to Vegas is a good, 5-hour drive, maybe if there's traffic, it's not very far. So we'd go up there all the time for a weekend or whatever. And of course, Vegas had the best arcades at the time, of course. And at the arcade, and this would be February or March 99, I remember we went to a GameWorks and I saw Power Stone and I saw Crazy Taxi for the first time. This is because, stuff would come out, like for those who don't know, arcades would do things called location tests where they test before the game would release wide. They would be put in arcades in certain places around the country or around the world and say, hey, what's that, a beta version, and then make adjustments from there and then decide to release the full game or it might get canceled or whatever. So Vegas was obviously a great place to do this because everyone in the world comes to Vegas. So it was a location test. I would play games here before I'd see them in San Diego even, which is a big city, right? So point is, I played Power Stone and I played Crazy Taxi and I was like, and I knew about Dreamcast at this point because at this point it was out in Japan. And I knew this hardware, this Naomi hardware at the arcade was supposed to be 1-to-1 with Dreamcast. And my mind would not allow myself to believe it. I could not believe it. I was playing. These are cutting edge graphics at the arcade, Power Stone and Crazy Taxi. There's no way in hell it's going to look like this at home. Sure enough, yeah. I was absolutely wrong. It looked exactly like that at home. Blew my mind, Darren.
Like that's exactly what my mind was at too. Like being in the arcades, I would love going to arcades and I would take any chance I could get, to going to the movies, going to anywhere where there was a lobby of arcade games. I'd always want to play whatever was the latest and newest because those were always the things that pushed hardware and technology the furthest. And so that was that game changing moment where it was what you were playing in the arcades was no longer a scaled down or adaptation of what you felt like you were playing. It was now gonna be that game essentially. That is the point in time where we were seeing 1-to-1 ports and all that stuff, and that blew my mind as well. That was a wonderful time.
It really was, man. It was incredible. So so Dreamcast comes out, these games come out, and I'm like, yo, this is really happening. And of course, this would be the days where they'd have kiosks at Toys R Us of the games months before the system would come out. So in summer of '99, you could go to Toys R Us and play the Sonic Adventure demo or a couple other things on that thing. I think it was mostly Sonic Adventure though. And of course that blew my mind. I like Sonic. And of course it had been skipping out on 3D up to that point. And wow, so Sonic Adventure, still one of my favorite games. So once I played that, my fate was sealed. I was getting a Dreamcast. But here's the thing, Darren, the way Dreamcast went commercially was exactly how I expected it to go. I didn't really expect it to be a success because, Sega was on a losing streak at that point. The Saturn was what it was here. And consumer confidence in Sega was at an all-time low. And even if Dreamcast was good, which it was, I didn't think the public would go for it just because people didn't trust Sega anymore. Lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So I thought as soon as that system came out, I'm like, I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's awesome. I'm going to get as many games for this thing as possible. I prioritized that. I stopped buying PS1 and N64 games completely. I was like, I'm all in on Dreamcast. Every single resource I can possibly muster will be going towards buying Dreamcast games, which is exactly what I did for those 2 years. It was relevant, and I did not regret a thing. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful time. Everyone knows. I mean, I don't have to go over a list of Dreamcast games, or maybe we can go over a few, but I'm not going to list them all off here. Everyone knows the hits, right? It was just a wonderful time.
If you
were not around for that time and you're listening to this, I promise it was as wonderful as it sounds like it was.
Did you get it on launch day, $99.99, or did you get it pick it up a few months later?
I got it on $99.99. For sure. And I remember it distinctly, not just because it's a date that everyone remembers, but the MTV Music Video Awards was that same day as well. And I remember this. And this at that time, that mattered a lot to me. I loved music videos. So watching that was like Christmas for me. And a goddamn new console was coming out. What the hell is my life right now? So I was like, should I leave? You know what I mean? I wanted to get to Toys R Us in time to pick up my pre-order, but I also wanted to watch the VMAs. So it was a weird juggling act. I think what I ended up doing was that some musical guest I did not like came on. And I was like, okay, quick, let's go or something. Because the Toys R Us wasn't too far from our house. thankfully. So we went and picked it up, and I missed some of the VMAs, and I caught one of the zillions of reruns later.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I did I got it on $99.99 with Sonic Adventure. I think that's the only thing I got. I didn't really want anything else.
I think the VMAs too, they would do that thing where they would air it, and then immediately after it ended, it would be a rerun broadcast like right afterwards and all that stuff too. So he's like, oh, okay. In case you missed anything, I guess here you go. One more time, run it back.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: it's worth watching live, obviously, because like, if Marilyn Manson gets up there and says "fuck," like they're going to cut it out of the other broadcast, right?
Yeah.
When you get to hear it live, you know what I mean? They can't react to that yet. So there was a thing about that, but it was still good even watching it after the fact.
Yeah, the drummer from Rage Against the Machine climbs on the set design during Limp Bizkit receiving an award, and it's cut for time.
I remember I was thinking, like, how did he get up there? That is a very pointy and sharp set design.
Yeah.
Like he got up there fast.
Yeah. I also loved the Dreamcast. I had, I feel like in my blood, I already knew I was a PlayStation person, but there was only the PS1 at that time, but I was like through and through, like knew like the PlayStation was like my thing. But I had a kid who I lived near, and I've shared this before, I believe, on a previous episode. I don't know which one, so I can't tell you which one to go listen to. So I'll just repeat it all again. But I convinced the kid to, I didn't convince him, but I don't know. For whatever reason, he was bored of his Dreamcast. And I wasn't getting any new games anytime soon for my PlayStation. So he was like, hey, we'll do a 1-to-1 swap. You can have my Dreamcast and all my stuff, and I'll have your PlayStation and all your stuff. And I was like, that sounds insane. And I was like, even if I get bored of this Dreamcast, I can go to a GameStop or someplace and sell it and buy back a PlayStation, I'm sure, and get back, some of my stuff. Like this, wouldn't be a big deal at all. So like I got all of his stuff. And I remember like one of the first days after getting it, I used to take a bus down to the Cypress swap meet in California. And there was a dude who had like a little, almost like a food trucks type of setup, where he would like have all these games and put them out on tables and all that stuff. And I would go to him for years, but I brought a bunch of the Dreamcast games I knew I wasn't going to play, or I played really quickly and thought like, okay, this is enough. Like Ready to Rumble. All right. I did a handful of matches. Like I get it. Like it looked great. It was fun. It was fast, but I want to get something different. And I ended up like selling a few games and then picking up like Code Veronica and something else at the time. So this just was a few months like after launch and everything. This may have been into that next year and everything. So
Code Veronica would have been pretty new at that time.
Yeah. And it was just cool to have that then, and just have like, again, having the mindset, like I had played Resident Evil 3 and 2 and 3 and everything. Like I knew what they were like on the PlayStation, but to me, seeing like the 3D environments and world and everything within Code Veronica, I was like, oh man, this is even crazier. Like this is even the games I loved on the PlayStation are like enhanced and better on this, on top of there being these arcade ports and everything. And like just, it was just so many different experiences on the Dreamcast that I love. The VMU with like the dumb, like the mini games that would support like the mini games on there. Power Stone was one. You could collect coins and fly that, red airplane around and whatnot. The idea of being able to do those things, like I wanted to have like a little Gigapet, battle simulator on there and like play against friends. And so like I was waiting for games to take more advantage of it, but it never quite happened, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I was being a Sonic Adventure person, I was a Chow freak. So like doing the Chow racing on the VMU was obviously like, the tits. It was just so fun at every turn, man. The Shenmues, the Tokyo Extreme Racers, you have Grandia 2 on Dreamcast, my favorite RPG of all time. The list goes on with that system. It's just incredible. This is also when I first started importing games because I realized how easy it was to do for Dreamcast. So I sent away mine. Actually, before I say that, you know what happened? Actually, my first Dreamcast straight up died. Like after like not even 6 weeks, I had to send it to Sega for a replacement. Something went bad in like the 3D graphics sector or something, because like if I tried to play Sonic Adventure, it wouldn't even load. If I tried to play Soul Calibur, the characters would be all a garbled mess. Polygons would not work. But if I played King of Fighters 98, it would be fine. But King of Fighters 98 on Dreamcast has 3D backgrounds, and those would be messed up. But the characters would be fine because they were 2D. Something went wrong with the 3D. Like, because you know how like the Dreamcast bio screen has like the clock and the VMU? All of that shit would be like completely garbled. So I'm like, what is going on? And it got very worse very fast. So I had like, actually my first Dreamcast was a lemon, believe it or not. So, but that did not deter me at all.
Yeah, I love the I never had any hardware issues with mine, and over the years I had another one. I would go back and get a PS2 and PlayStation and PlayStation 2 afterwards and whatnot, but then I'd get the black Sega Sports Dreamcast. I thought that was a really cool like variant of the system.
I remember that one.
And that one would play like burned CDs, and so it was just like, this is how like poor their copyright protection was. Like, yes, they used those GD-ROMs, those higher capacity disks. So some games like maximize their space, but some smart enough people learned like which like data they could gut out of a game to like bring it under a CD limit, and then literally just burning a CD and putting it in, it would boot up and run and play. And it was like the coolest thing as a poor young adult, older teenager was just like, oh, okay, I can just play any of the games I want now. Well, it was a wonderful
tying
time.
This all together, that's how I played Wonder Boy, because I figured out you can burn an emulator to a Dreamcast disc, and I found out how to do that for Master System. So I burned a Master System disc, and I played Wonder Boy on basically the Dreamcast.
Wow.
So I had a bunch of other Master System games. So like that's that's how I played that. Not
that's
on
wild.
the computer.
Yeah, that's how I also played Snatcher for the first time, was burned via emulation on a CD, like in my Dreamcast and everything, which I don't know why I chose it to. I've never liked sitting down in front of my computer and playing a game, like a computer chair and a keyboard and mouse, even with a plugged in controller, like just running an application to do it in front of a computer screen just never was as comfortable as like sitting on a couch in a living room and on a big TV and things like that. So like, the minute I could emulate things like that, like, yeah, I had like a few discs with, a bunch of collection of games and all that stuff to like be able to run those emulators via the Dreamcast, which was so wild. Like it was super, super neat.
Yeah, I started importing games around this time. So I just noticed like, this was again, if you're a younger person, it's hard for you to imagine this, but it took a long time for games to come over from Japan sometimes. So like I was an arcade head. So that means I was a fighting game head. So I would import Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and both Capcom versus SNKs, and I don't even think Capcom versus SNK 2 had a Dreamcast released here. We had to wait till like PS2 and GameCube and stuff. King of Fighters 2000, Guilty Gear X. I got all those for Dreamcast for sure, just because I loved playing them. Of course, I had that official green stick with the green buttons and whatever. That was the stick. Yeah, so like that was also a big part of my Dreamcast experience, importing games, because again, it was just so easy to do. Sega's copyright protection was basically just nothing. So it's just like it was just free reign.
Yeah, there was some like I've written about this before too, but like the reason I loved like early first gen, PS1, PS2 stuff, like Sony was so willing to just try and like make like random and odd games, and like they were just trying to cover all their bases. Like Sega, because of their string of bad luck and decisions and everything that kind of led them to that, like they were losing third party support. So they essentially were in this mindset with the Dreamcast. So it's like, hey, we'll need to cover all of our bases ourselves. Let's just make some fun and odd things. Let's just do whatever and see what sticks, and we'll just we'll fill out our library ourselves if we need to. And so having Jet Set Radio, Typing of the Dead, Seaman, like they're like just the odd Space Channel 5, like just bizarre genres, just bizarre mashups, visual styles, technology combinations of things. Like they were so like it was so different. And then obviously the online space. I mean, like, Phantasy Star Online, having the modem right out of the box and everything. Like they made some smart decisions for that system. It was just, ticket was punched before it even launched. Like the Dreamcast didn't kill itself, and Sega, didn't kill the Dreamcast themselves. It was the catch up of all the business decisions of the mismanagement through the Genesis and the Saturn and everything that kind of like led them to that point. It's like I would say they essentially like nailed it with the Dreamcast. Like they were perfect, but like they really needed stars to align to help them rebound and bounce back. And it just wasn't quite enough for them to pull it out, the rabbit out of the hat and like kind of continue on with the way they were. But like they essentially nailed it with the Dreamcast. And yeah, such a great thing.
I have 2 tattoos on my body, and they are Mr. Driller and Jet Set Radio. Gee, I wonder why, right? So that's all I can say. That's how much I love the Dreamcast.
Okay, well then I'll one more question then for you about the Dreamcast.
All right.
What if they did? Companies are very happy with nostalgia and these like mini consoles and anniversary consoles and things like that. If they did a little Dreamcast mini or a all-in-one type of box, what are a few games that like can and should not be missed, that should be included in like some type of Dreamcast mini nostalgia box?
I think, well, obviously, I mean, we know the hits, right? Crazy Taxi, etc., Shenmue. I think it's like I said earlier, Grandia 2 should absolutely be there. I think that is a quintessential Dreamcast ass RPG. It has to be there. It just has to. Tokyo Extreme Racer 2, I think, is kind of something that should absolutely be there. That might be the best version of one of those games back in the day. I mean, when they went to PS2, obviously after Dreamcast died, they were still good. There's just something about that particular one that I think nails it, and that should be there. I think they could probably get Arc System Works to play ball with Guilty Gear X. I don't see why they shouldn't. I think that's like the premier like 2D fighting game on there. Not the best one, but just as far as visuals go, I think it just kind of, Capcom games at that time looked how they looked, and they still look good, but Guilty Gear X was just on another level. So I think that's got to be there. And Capcom usually plays ball with these mini consoles. So I think if they had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, if they had Street Fighter Alpha 3, that would be great. Obviously, we don't want to overload on fighting games. I don't think that's like the move for like a mass marketed like mini console. But yeah, outside of like I said, the hits that are going to be there, the Sonic Adventures, etc., it would be great if they could have PSO. Now, I get that it would not be online, but you can play that game completely offline and have a ball. Guess who did that? Me. I went online a lot with my friends too, but I also played a lot offline, and that's still fun. So I think that's worth having on there. I'm sure some people will disagree, but I think it should be there. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's like any, like, unless you want to get really fucking weird, like Seventh Cross Evolution, or, like if we want to get like really out there, I guess we can. Seaman requires a peripheral. So, I mean, I understand that's kind of tough. But
they may be able to include just a cheap microphone in the controller. It's not like it was that advanced of a microphone or anything.
No.
So that could probably be done.
Yeah, well, it was a very cheap microphone. It was like that thing looked like it cost 99 cents at Big Lots or something.
I almost bought a copy of that at when I was in Portland for the Portland Retro Gaming Expo at the end of last year, and it was like a sign because I like walked by and I saw like an import copy of it. And I was like, oh, that's fun. I love the way this box looks. And then I was walking by, somebody else had like a Japanese copy of like the PS2 version of it. And I was like, oh yeah, it came out on PS2. I totally forgot about that. It just didn't come out to America, but like, oh, hey, that's odd. That'd be fun to kind of try it out. And then I saw a North American Dreamcast version, with like its box and everything. And I was like, should I buy this? And I opened it up and I looked at it, and it didn't have like the green foam ball that covered like the tip of the microphone. It was just like the plastic, microphone. And that was in my head. I was like, no, it doesn't have that green foam ball that I could absolutely like replace, probably no problem. I was like, no, it's not complete in my mind. I'll skip it. I won't get it.
I'm with you. That was part. I know people think it's silly. That's part of the experience. That green foam ball. Yeah, gotta have it.
Needed it. But okay. That's the Dreamcast, it's thinking. We both love that system, so definitely miss the Dreamcast. And I wanted to touch on that. I was reading about that, but Sega actually made a decision to, like, in their marketing for it all, like even on the system itself, like they didn't use Sega a lot, especially in PAL territory specifically, but it was advertised as the Dreamcast with the Dreamcast logo and everything like that at all. And it was promoted and marketed essentially as trying to not necessarily distance itself from the Sega name, but not have Sega too loud out there because of their the image that the public had for it, you know, and everything. They didn't want to be
their name was Mud, and they knew it.
Yeah,
they knew it. So I didn't know they did that in Europe that way. That's interesting.
Yeah, they had the blue swirl Dreamcast over there rather than our North American orange.
That's
swirl.
right.
Yeah,
I think I prefer our orange, huh? I think it's better.
Yeah, I mean, just like everything in America, we're number one. Everybody else in the world sucks. We both agree to that, and you
everything,
sign off.
Yeah, every single thing.
USA. I've had a string of episodes recently, actually, with international guests, Australia and Europe and everything. So yeah, we got to take it back. Got to take it back for the US.
Yeah,
folks. So
we're taking it back.
The orange swirl.
We're both from out here. These Western states. We're America, baby.
Yeah. Orange swirl or bust. But thank you, Andre, for coming back onto the show. It was fun talking Dreamcast. We're going to record one right after this as well, too. So we'll have you on a future episode. But even beyond that, you're always welcome to be on the show. But thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'll have in the show notes below links to Find Time, but I'll also plug in. Make sure we put in the Neo Geo Go link in there so people can then see that, check out the little teaser, and be subscribed before it launches. And otherwise, anything else you wanted to share or plug before we wrap? Then
I think that's it. We got it. Find Time, Neo Geo Go, Go USA, and that's about it.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day, everyone, and thank you, Andre, for joining. Bye.
Thank you.
Listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. Hosts Gooey, McKenna, and friends flashback to the 90s and early 2000s with a look at the Nintendo 64's catalog and its contemporary cultural and historical context. Starting with the console's launch titles and proceeding in release order, we discuss classics like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, as well as some not-so-beloved games, lesser-known titles, and everything in between. Along with game-specific deep dives, we also cover other bits of pop culture from the time, like films, music, and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.